Beautiful woman. One evening, as I was on my way home without working overtime, I was a little surprised to see the station platform. There were more people on the platform than usual, and it was very crowded. Even though it was time for me to go home, I could usually get on the train more easily and smoothly. Thinking this, I boarded a slightly empty car near the back of the train, which I usually don't ride. Although I couldn't sit down, I managed to hold on to the handrail and the train departed on time. I was killing time while looking at my phone. I looked up and saw a woman's foot behind my phone. It was like I could see the legs of the woman sitting in front of me through my phone. Very beautiful, long, white legs. Short, tight skirt and a mole around her inner thigh. A mole is a strange thing, because just one black dot like this makes you look sexier. It is human nature to want to look at the top of a young, beautiful leg. I casually turned my gaze upward as well. She had long, straight black hair. She looked like a model, and anyone would have said that she was beautiful. What was a little strange, however, was that she was wearing a women's suit like job hunters often wear, and the time of year is not that season. I wondered if she had gone for a mid-career job interview. I pried a little more than I should have. If I were the interviewing recruiter, I would hire her immediately. Such a fantasy grew. The train entered the platform at the next station. She turned slightly and looked out the window. At that moment, she looked at me with her eyes glazed over. Oh no, our gazes met perfectly. It's so awkward. I quickly removed my gaze and looked at my phone. I'm not looking at your thighs, I pretended to be reading my phone. I was a little nervous, but I tried to calm down. She acted strangely. She crossed her legs, put her fingers on her chin, posed and started staring at me. At first I wondered if she was looking at an advertisement or a monitor behind me. But no, she was definitely looking at me. She even smiled and posed for me. It was as if she was asking me to take her picture. No, that's stupid. Is it possible that she would stare at an old man who only caught a glimpse of her? Especially on a train. I was about to panic a little. At the same time, I thought, isn't this the kind of person I shouldn't make eye contact with? So I desperately pretended to be reading my smartphone. What on earth? Was he trying to protest? What are you looking at? I did get a glimpse of her thighs, but I wasn't staring at them or molesting them. If something beautiful is in front of you, surely anyone would look. While I was thinking up excuses in my head, she kept staring at me with the same pose and smile. What on earth is going on? I felt like I was going to break out into a sweat. After all that, I finally arrived at my stop. To be honest, I was relieved. I stopped reading my smartphone and, being careful not to make eye contact with her, pushed my way through the crowd and got off the train. Then, to my surprise, the woman suddenly stood up and pushed her way through the crowd to get off the train. The same station? No, it wasn't. She had stood up when she saw me get off. She was following me. I left the ticket gate and entered the shopping district, but she followed me at a distance. I couldn't look back now. But I was sure I was being followed. I felt dangerous. If I continued like this, she would surely follow me home. It was a pathetic story, but for the first time in my life, I realized the horror of stalkers. If it was a young girl being stalked by a man, I could understand that. But why should an ordinary old man like me be stalked by a woman, and a beautiful woman like a model at that? It was really hard to understand. Anyway, I felt it would be dangerous to just go straight home. That's it, I'll stop by a friend's house nearby and get it over with. Thinking that, I sent a line message to my friend. Fortunately, I was able to get in touch with my friend right away and it was okay for me to go to her house. I felt a little better. Hurry to act. I walked a little faster to my friend's house. I entered room 203 of my friend's apartment. After entering, I peered through the doorscope for a while. And sure enough, she had arrived. And she was heading straight for room 203. And even though she couldn't possibly be seen, she peered through the doorscope. Through the single door, my face and hers came close to each other. I stepped back calmly and quietly, trying not to make any noise. I didn't say anything to my friend, but just asked him to let me stay for a while. "Do you want me to buy you something to drink?" my friend asked. No, never mind. It's better not to go out right now." After this exchange, I got some coffee and calmed down. I spent the next 2 hours at my friend's house, carefully looking outside. It seemed like she had disappeared. I thanked my friend and finally went back to my house. I got home, ate some food, took a shower, and drank a beer to calm down, but I started to get a little worried about my friend. That woman, beautiful, but a little crazy, might think my friend was me and try to play some kind of prank on him. If that's the case, I've done something bad to my friend. I should at least give him some information about that woman and tell him to be on the lookout. With that in mind, I tried calling, but no one answered. I had a bad feeling, so I hopped on my bike and hurried over to my friend's house. My friend's apartment was engulfed in flames. The police and fire department had already arrived and were working to put out the fire, but there were a lot of Yazim on the street, and I couldn't get any closer. I heard one of them talking. They say it was arson. They say the culprit is a woman. She said she poured oil on the first floor and set herself on fire. I was shocked. There was no doubt about it, it must be that woman. That woman. She was looking for someone to die with her. The next day, I found out that many people, including my friend, had been caught up in the fire and died. How did it come to this? Was it my fault? I was at a loss. This is the end of this story. Thank you for listening to the end.